In a survey conducted for a PhD thesis, it was observed that the maximum number of respondents said that they would report to police when they find the 1 million rupees lying on the road, with a fear that there is a chance of 25% probability, for a 25% probability that they would be caught on a camera by the camera installed over there. But the same question, when it was tossed up with the rider that there is no camera installed over there, then to our surprise 95% of the respondents said that they would take the money home. This shook us. We realized that the people are willing to dilute the principles and values when they know that they will not be caught. So therefore we felt the need for infusing values into the society through a storytelling effect. Next comes the rule. There is no dearth of rules today. With every new rule coming in, people find new ways to outsmart it. The DGP is here. I have to quote this. The thief is an artist, while the policeman is only a critic. Today, the accounting models drive the business models. In Enron, the so-called watchdogs, the auditors, became pet dogs with wagging tails. The cart was pulling the horse than the other way around. So therefore we felt it is not the rules, but the values alone can play a key role. The next trigger is that of realizing the ideal. The countless inventions of Edison, the cosmic genius of Charlie Chaplin, the magic of boundless compassion of Mother Teresa, and the charisma of Mahatma Gandhi all seem to be awe-inspiring to us. It is not the extraordinary knowledge of a superman, but it is the exemplary conduct of the ordinary man that gave them the leadership status. For the leaders, it was a natural expression and a spontaneous reaction. Leaders realize the ideal, while the followers idealize the real. We want more leaders to realize the ideals, and we do not want younger generation to alienate from the leaders on the ground of idealism, while most of the leaders lived a very, very simple living. The next trigger is that of dharmic governance. Post-recession, the people at the lower and the middle levels, they are suffering more than the people at the top. We are sacking the office boys on the ground of recession. The budding professionals could not get a placement of their choice when their predecessors could get a placement of their own choice. Now we are living in a world of crisis. The younger generation is losing the hopes. We are reminded of a quote from George W. Bush in a oath-taking ceremony. This quote goes like this: I take as my guide the hope of a saint. In crucial things, unity. In important things, diversity. In all things, generosity. Yes, the need of the hour is generosity. We need compassionate capitalism, wherein we generate more and more wealth, while at the same time the human dignity is also enhanced. The short-term profit approach has to be balanced with the long-term responsibility. The two unbridled horses, namely the capitalism-driven wealth generation and the socialism-driven wealth distribution, are to be reined by the dharmic accountability and control. This is the dharmic governance for you. We have to make it simple so that the escapism can be curtailed. We have to make it value-based. In short, artha, the wealth creation, and kama, the materialistic enjoyment, have to conform to dharma, the rituous conduct. The next trigger is of answering the questions arising in the minds of executives today. In this digital world, with intense competition, repositioning compulsions, shortened product cycles, ever-falling demand, ever-diluting margins, the corporates have to be lean enough to face the challenges, fresh enough in terms of the technological upgradation, fleet-footed in the decision-making speed. This forced the corporates to reconcile the apparent opposites, quality versus price, quality versus productivity, mass production versus customization. The battle was always on. The corporates' search for the competitive supremacy was always on. This forced the corporates to heavily skew their efforts towards profit goals, eclipsing the other goals. The consistent pressure of profit compulsions raised many questions in the minds of the executives today. They do carry out a soul searching. This book tries to unravel such mysteries and find answers to the question that daunt the executives today. The next trigger is that of gaps in the behavior. The codes have to be converted into conduct. The gap between the status of values and the statement of values have to be zeroized. We should extend our values beyond home. It is the respectability quotient that should determine the Forbes Elite Awards. Today the wealth matrix is defining it, whereas it should be respectability quotient that should determine it. So the character has to be infused into the societal DNA. We have to give hopes in the minds of the younger generation that we can be a winner without being a sinner. Finally, above all, it is not the duty of every man to rule the nation or to guide the people, but it is the duty of every man to guide his personality and rule his turbulent mind to win for himself what the state can never give him. The greatest wars are fought in the silent chambers of your soul. We have made a humble attempt to portray how such wars were fought by our hero Arjun in our book, A Saint in the Boardroom, while regaining his last glory. Now, this being a trigger, I'll take you to the story portion. As you know, I've been saying people are waiting for the storytelling effect. Now, let's move to the story. Now, you have seen the trailer. Arjun is the hero of our book. He's the CEO of a large bank in UK. His life was very smooth till 2008. Post 2008, things started changing for Arjun. The financial tsunami which hit America did not spare his bank where he was the CEO. The boardroom was waiting for answers from him on why the debacle and what went wrong. Arjun started his presentation like this to the board. At the outset, let me tell you, the nation's confused between the motion and progress. A rocking horse moves but does not progress. Everyone thought that their economies were growing, but in fact, it was a motion and not progress. Here is a story of the method of doing business in the United States of America. He narrated a story. It was a beach town in the Caribbean islands. The whole town was deserted, everyone was in debt, it was a bad time. A rich tourist walks into a hotel and he pays $100 note to the reception counter. He said, I'll go up and inspect the room and come back. Meanwhile, the hotel owner passes on the $100 note to settle his debt to the butcher. The butcher in turn pays his debt to his pig grower. The pig grower in turn settles his debt to the supplier of the feed and fuel. The supplier of the feed and fuel in turn settles his debt to the fuel distribution agent. And the fuel distribution agent in turn settles his debt to the hotel for the past rental dues. Now the $100 note is back to the hotel reception counter. Now meanwhile the tourist came back, he said, I don't